Okay, today we're at Leslie Groves Park in Richland. Been here for about an hour, and we've already had a little confrontation with some Mormons, and another really interesting opportunity with a guy that let me pray with him. He was going in for some kind of consultation regarding back problems he's having. Guy about 40 years old. And then I looked down the path here and noticed the Jehovah's Witnesses have a display set up. So we're going to go down and stand next to them for a few minutes and just see what happens. Guys,
how you doing?
Good. We're going to stand here with you for a little while.
Well, if you don't mind us getting up and walking away when we get tired of it.
Sure.
All right.
You can do that
So anyway,
anytime.
Continue with our conversation. So anyway, after Babel, people were separated, right? So what happened was that people, right? People married commonality. So the darker skin started marrying like them, and so that's why they figured it was that way. So, you know, whether that picture is true or not. So, anyway.
I noticed you got the New World Translation of the Bible there.
Of course.
Yeah, that's got a lot of problems.
But I also have the King James. I've also got it's in my pocket. I also got King James. I also have the Byington. I also have 12 other Bibles.
Well,
if
good
that's
for
what
you.
You would like me to read? I'll do that for you.
Well, take a look at Isaiah 7:14 in your version, and you won't see any virgin birth. That's a problem.
Virgin birth?
Yeah.
Of Mary, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, of course there was.
Look at Isaiah 7:14 in your New World Translation. Just says young woman. Doesn't say anything about a virgin.
Well,
Lots of
something.
young women, but young women and virgin aren't the same thing.
Well,
we all know that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to debate with you. It's a non-denomer. I mean, you know.
It's a what?
You don't denomer. It's a non-denomer. Means it
Well,
really doesn't have any presence.
Oh.
You'll find
Doesn't have any
that
importance. It sure does.
you go to any Christian bookstore, and one version you don't see in a Christian bookstore is that one. That ought to tell you something, because it's
Sure
a bogus.
should.
It's a bogus version.
Sure should tell you something.
Yeah, it does.
Because you remember the two gates, you know, two roads. One is wide and one is narrow.
Your cult didn't even exist until Charles Taze Russell came along.
Ah, you're wrong. You're wrong.
He's the
See,
one that started your publication
well,
company.
He was the one that was used, but he wasn't the one that started it.
He's the one that dreamed it up. He had
not at all.
the publication company that started
Okay,
it.
where did he get his information? Where did he study from? Oh, the Bible.
Well, a lot of his different
He studied
Bible.
from the Bible.
He denied.
only one
He
Bible.
denied.
He came up with all the different
There was
dates
only one
of
Bible in those
when
days.
the earth was
The
going
King
to end.
James.
He denied the deity of Christ. He denied
Oh,
a
he
literal
denied
hell.
What he did is he went through, go back to the Bible, basic, and had a study of God of what was the truth. That was
What
all
was the
he
truth?
did.
So there was no truth until Charles Taze Russell.
Oh, no. You
That's
know better than
ridiculous.
that. Even saying it sounds
That's
stupid.
ridiculous,
I think you're
dude.
ridiculous. So, no, we're good. We're good. I mean, you know.
Now you're a cult. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just go to the library and look up any books on cults, and guess who's listed
We
in there.
believe in Jesus, so that makes us a cult.
Well, you believe that Jesus is Michael the Archangel.
Well, that was one of his titles.
We're
But
not.
we also
How
believe
about
in his
all
father
the- how about
Jehovah.
it all the times
But
it
that
was
doesn't make us
prophesied
cult.
the world
If it
was gonna
did-
end?
Well, you got the wrong Jesus. Jesus is not Michael the Archangel. We're not supposed to worship angels. People worship Jesus.
Let's go, Rick.
Yeah, that takes in so much. Now I could actually talk to you, but
Yeah.
it's not really.
Time to get up.
Not important, right?
Well, you want to use that wordage? Sure. Because you're not going to hear what I have to say, and
Well, you're
I
a
have
cult.
nothing to do with what you have to say. So we're
Yeah,
having an
obviously.
impasse, and
What you teach is Arianism, Gnosticism.
And you're,
No,
you're
that's
hoping you're going to
racism.
run into somebody that doesn't
can't
know
use
anything about the
Arianism.
Bible.
Arianism, Arius
That
of
is-
Alexandria. Arius of Alexandria. That's why they came up with the Nicene Creed to stamp out
Arianism
his
is
heresy.
racism. And-
No, it isn't.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Arius of Alexandria. I'm not talking about a race. I'm talking about theology here, pal. Well, that's the way it
It's
goes.
like, well, we made an hour.
That didn't last long. Yeah, there's a long list of things you can talk about with Jehovah's Witnesses that they don't want to talk about. One of them is their dispensational idea of when Jesus is going to return. They have set dates on that many, many times, and it's never come to pass the way they said it was going to. Then usually after the fact, they revise it and come up with a new spiritualized version. And another thing that's interesting to talk to them about is to ask them, did you receive the Holy Spirit since you believed? Because they're of the conviction that the Holy Spirit was only for the apostles in the apostolic age, and there's no real supernatural manifestation of the gifts of the Spirit on believers today. Well, just about any Pentecostal will argue that that's not true, because if you receive the Holy Spirit, usually there's something that happens with that. Oftentimes it'll be, you'll start speaking in tongues. That's what happened in the book of Acts. Or you'll just notice a lot more power and other gifts of the Holy Spirit begin to manifest in your life if you've been filled with the Holy Spirit. So they don't like to talk about that. And usually when you start talking about the supernatural or demonology, do you cast out demons? They usually say, well, we do what Jesus did. We go out in pairs. Well, yeah, they go out in pairs and they pass out little booklets, the Watchtower and the Wake magazines, which is pretty ridiculous. And but they have no power, and they will admit it. That they, you ask them, have you ever cast out a demon? Well, that's not for today. That was only for the apostles. So I usually argue, well, then you have nothing to offer. If you don't have a supernatural God, why would I be interested in your Jehovah? Or Yahweh is probably a more correct way of pronouncing it, but they like the word Jehovah. So yeah, they normally don't stick around long if they find out you know too much.